from Facebook and YouTube, welcome. Congratulations for this little sneak surprise session that we have going on for Lost in Translation. We're not going to be here for the full session. We just wanted to give you a quick sneak preview. This was Sheikh Ammar's idea. He was really passionate about getting you guys a taste of what the course itself has to offer. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. And if you're interested, we have Lost in Translation and Faith Essentials linked below if there's anything that piques your interest for today's mini session, inshallah. Malaysia, mashallah. Jazakumullah khair for waking up late or staying up late. It's the 28th night for you now, right, Marina? And Sheikh, I'm going to let you do the little, would you like me to share my screen or would you like to do it yourself? Sheikh Ammar? Oh, I can't hear you anymore. I think you're muted. Bismillah. Awesome sauce. Welcome everyone. Thank you for jumping in. Don't worry, this is not going to be a full regular session for those of you who are coming in online. It's just a little sneak peek, and inshallah you guys can go straight to bed before our 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time session with Sheikh Ammar, actually, inshallah. So I'm super excited for that. It's actually going to be super cool for Ramadan 360 today. We have 2 back-to-back complementing sessions. One is the effect of sin with Sheikh Alshukry, and then the second is the effect of good deeds with Sheikh Walid Basuni. So kind of cool, a little bit of a reflection of the Lost in Translation course with the 2 of our shuyukh working together as well. It's the 28th tonight. May Allah accept your fasting and your ibadah, mashallah, ameen. Sheikh,
I'm going to move real quick, so just give me a second.
Okay, no problem. Take your time, Sheikh. How many people, I know there's a couple people in right now through Faith Essentials. Is there anyone in here who has finished the entire course yet, Lost in Translation? I know a handful of people. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Pervez from Nepal. How are you doing? What time is it in Nepal right now? I'm not even sure about time zones at the moment. And yes, don't worry, guys, we won't be on for too long. We just want to give you a sneak peek. One of the best things about watch parties, and this is why I love the few that we've done, is you get to all the questions that you have when you're going through a course, especially if it's like something that seems like pretty simple, but you may have follow-up questions, because our courses are meant to be kind of powerful and to the point and clear. But they don't deal with all the details, too much of the descriptiveness. So it's amazing to be able to ask your questions while you're watching. That's one of the biggest perks for me personally is, did you guys hear my alarm just now? That's one of my biggest perks for me personally is the fact that I can get any questions that I immediately have answered. And that way I feel like I'm getting the correct information. I'm getting the full understanding of what the topic is being covered while it's being covered for me. And I know I haven't gotten through as much of the course as I wanted to. There's only 24 hours in a day, unfortunately. So I'm glad this will give us an excuse, because this full watch party is going to be for 2 hours. How long is it going to be? Yes, it's 2 hours from 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the course itself is 3.5 hours. So this will give us a chance to get through a good chunk, at least a third or half of the course. And then we don't have to feel guilty about the fact that we haven't gotten around to it yet. So alhamdulillah for that. It's 10:40 p.m. over there. And it's the 27th. Jazakumullah khair for joining us on your 27th night, Dr. Pervez. That's insane, mashallah. May Allah accept your fasting and your ibadah I got distracted. May Allah accept your ibadah and your efforts. Ameen. Ameen. Everyone say ameen who's watching right now. Chime in once again in the chat or in the comments and let us know how you're doing. Did you hear about Lost in Translation before right now? And for those of you who went through it, what has been the most powerful or effective lesson so far that you've learned? My pleasure, Dr. Pervez. And I'll just let you guys trickle in now. I think you guys probably received an email just a little while ago as well with about it, right? Alhamdulillah. Why do I do this? Alhamdulillah. Okay. Oh, Rimla, I see you. Lubna, I see you. Aisha, Honeybee, mashallah. A lot of people going in. Yes, you don't have to miss the live streaming. That's what I mentioned yesterday as well. Is alhamdulillah, because of the way that Faith Essentials is structured, inshallah, we will continue to have lots of sessions on here. It depends on the level of interest that the Faith Essential students have, because mashallah, I know you guys have access to so much content already. But if people are attending regularly and they have a passion and they have an interest for the live sessions, depending on the topics that they're requesting and whatnot as well, we will inshallah be making those happen. So Ramadan 360 is an end of one journey, but it's not the end of a journey entirely. And that's why I've always loved this perk of being a Faith Essentials member is this level of accessibility and this level of ease when it comes to having just being able to quickly touch your knowledge, quickly grab whatever questions that you have, and always have access to them. Adil, what is this lost in translation? Apologies, I should have actually explained. It's a course that we have here on Faith Essentials that covers the dabbur of the Quran. Sheikh Ammar, who taught it with Sheikh Walid, can explain it a little bit better than I can. But it's a beautiful, powerful course. It's amazing for the last 10 nights of Ramadan because it helps you to get to a level of a relationship with your Quran more than you can ever expect, especially whether or not you're an Arabic speaker, a native Arabic speaker, or you're not. And I myself not being one has been so helpful because often you just listen to Quran or you read the Quran just for the sake of reading Quran and the ajr that comes along with it. But this course allows you to reflect and understand it so much better without actually going to just straight up tafsir or translation. Alhamdulillah. You did the registration.
So can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Lighting is good. MashaAllah. I
had to move to my cell phone because I had a hard time charging my laptop.
Oh no.
So I can't screen share or do anything. Sorry, Hafsa.
No worries. That's a convenient excuse as soon as I asked.
Yeah. Can we just do a quick tour of Faith Essentials?
Absolutely. Can you actually give us a bit of a taste, Sheikh, about Lost in Translation? Sheikh Walid was on here on Monday.
Yeah, so let's log in real quick and I'll show them what Lost in Translation is.
Awesome sauce.
So we've been talking about Faith Essentials. Obviously, you've probably been seeing a lot of mentioning about it in all of the Ramadan 360 sessions. What is Faith Essentials? At some point, I just want to show you what the portal looks like so you get an understanding of what we mean when we say Faith Essentials. So Faith Essentials is, alhamdulillah, it's a project that we've been working on for 4 years and it's been ongoing, alhamdulillah. It was launched maybe 3 years ago. And it's a complete portal where you can learn the essentials of what you need to know about Islam. It's as simple as that. And so Hafsa, if you can go to the courses, we designed and we said, what are the courses that every Muslim on topics that Muslims need to know about? And it revolves around 3 things. Number 1 is your theology, your belief. Number 2 is your worship. And number 3 is your interactions, right? So you've got the pillars of Iman. You have what is Tawheed. And you have these modules being taught by Sheikh Yasir Qadi and Sheikh Walid Basyuni, the hereafter, all of the pillars of Iman. And then you have courses on fiqh. But again, what are the essentials? Even as an individual, you may not necessarily have the time to attend even an al-Maghrib seminar, right? Which is, goes into advanced topics. I just want to know the basics of Islam. I want fiqh without all of the differences of opinion. And so here we have the pillars of faith or the pillars of Islam being taught, the salah, zakat, hajj, siyam, transactions, fiqh of transactions, the fiqh of death, right? Everything that a person needs to know, you find it here. You have the names of Allah, of course. You have living as a Muslim minority. You have Muslim ethics because that's interactions and that's incredibly important. It's the thing that most enters a person into paradise is taqwa and good character. You have the meanings of salah because every Muslim needs to know what they're saying. What does Allahu Akbar mean? What does Al-Fatiha mean? What does Subhan Rabbi al-A'la mean, right? And then we have the art of contemplation, which is a course. And so right now there are 23 courses. And again, we think a million times over before adding a course because the idea is it essential? And so we have some more courses coming down the pipeline. We added Unbroken by Sheikh Umar Sulaiman, which is a 3-hour workshop. And that's the other thing with Faith Essentials is that all of the modules are condensed, right? It's literally essential information and it's very high quality and you'll be seeing inshallah in a second. So you click on any course, Hafsa, but just show them what it looks like. These are all, it's not recorded in a masjid or something. It's recorded in the studio for the purpose of online. You have the modules on the right. You have, how long is that video?
This one's like 10 minutes.
10 minutes, right? So getting Sheikh Abu Isa to speak for only 10 minutes, live, this would be his, his hamdulillah, his introduction. But the modules are all short. The modules are all something that's and there's an app for this, which is incredibly important. And even if you're a Faith Essentials member, you haven't downloaded the app, you're missing out on a huge part of the experience. The app is what allows you to be mobile and access this wherever you go. And so you have types of water, you have all of the aspects of, the fiqh of tahara. But scroll down, it's only what, 10 lessons?
Yeah.
How many? It is 10 lessons, right?
So it is 10 lessons, yeah.
Yeah, so this is something that literally, we've attended it in masajid with our mashayikh, over 30 lessons, 30 weeks learning the fiqh of tahara. And so you get it in 10 sessions, one module, 10 minutes each, right? It really is the essentials, and it's all high quality with demonstration and with graphics and all of that type of stuff. So I would obviously highly encourage, I think this is the most complete, and you can, have discussions, and different instructors and myself will answer your questions as well. And then we have all of these programs, live Q&As. And right now we're going to start a watch party so that we can all watch the new session or the new course that we just launched in the portal, which is Lost in Translation, which is the meanings of the, or how to understand the Quran, how to interpret, or to contemplate, rather, that's the word, how to contemplate the Quran. So that being said, we wanted to at least do the first session on Facebook Live, that everybody joins us and benefits, inshallah ta'ala, and then we'll just talk. But if you want to join us, inshallah, feel free. What is that? Is that a document?
That's the course synopsis.
Of what? Of
Pick a
great. Yeah, there are all these notes and all of this like really handy stuff. MashaAllah. Okay, so let's do, and so faithessentials.online. If you want to register, it's $15 a month. And it's better than Netflix, right? It's a great resource to have, as well as to gift to other people as well. So these are upcoming courses. We have the history of Islamic Spain with Sheikh Abdullah Hakim Quick, as well as Through the Fire, the story of Salman al-Farisi, which is an incredibly powerful story of truth seeking. The great companion Salman radiallahu anhu. Okay, so let's go to Lost in Translation.
Perfect. And also we have recordings of all the Ramadan 360 sessions and others. So for those who missed out and feel bummy about not getting the full experience, you still have plenty of time to catch up after Ramadan.
That's like 120 recordings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Welcome to Lost in Translation.
Should we start from, hold on. Okay, stop.
Yeah, so we'll start with the introduction.
Okay.
For the people who are on the Faith Essentials portal, I want to try something different. So we have the discussions. Instead of just typing it into the chat, if you happen to have your laptop, and if you can write it in the actual comment section of the video, that way, when I respond to the answers, it can be something that other people can benefit from, as opposed to just simply existing within the chat box. It becomes something a little bit more permanent. I would like to see if we can pull that off. For everybody who's on Facebook, of course, Hafsa will be sharing your questions, inshallah. The best part about Faith Essentials, like I always say, is that you can play the videos on high speed, because who has the ability to listen at 1? And so 1.5, I think, is good. Let's try 1.5. Cool.
Welcome to Lost in Translation, a course designed around the principles of understanding and being able to contemplate the Quran, even without speaking the Arabic language. And we're so happy to be able to present this topic in this blessed month of Ramadan, this incredibly unique month of Ramadan. And Ramadan, of course, is a month that is attached to the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says,
is that too fast?
This month of Ramadan
Everyone chime in. I'll let you guys chime in the chat if it's too fast. If it's good, then we'll keep going.
Is the month in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought down the Quran, a guidance to mankind. And it is a month that is filled with many different types of worship. Of course, of them is charity, of them is taraweeh, of them is the recitation of the Quran, of them is, of course, fasting. But this recitation of the Quran is something that we see the companions and the Salaf focusing on greatly in the month of Ramadan. And we're going to talk about so many virtues and so many aspects of this recitation and giving the Quran its right. Ibn Salah, he says, the angels do not envy humanity except for one act of worship. And that is the recitation of the Quran, because it is the one thing that they're not able to do. And so they crowd and they gather around human beings to hear their recitation and to witness the recitation of humanity.
There's no doubt that our relationship with the Quran manifested itself in many different ways. We memorize the Quran, we read the tafsir of the Quran, we try to understand the rules in the Quran. But also one of the aspects that I thought it's so important for us to focus on, which is tadabbur al-Quran, to reflect upon the verses of the Quran. And that's an art in itself. And during this course, inshallah ta'ala, we will give you a lot of tools, guidelines, principles that should enable you to enjoy your recitation in a way that you never experienced before. I hope, when I was preparing this material, I was telling to myself, I want to make sure that anyone take this course would never read Quran the same way again. I want everyone to be able to have that special connection with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that love for the Quran. And that comes from that connection between you and the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This course will give you principles, guidelines, and it should enable you to have
Asla, people are saying that it's too fast.
No problem. Let's do 125.
Yeah.
Arabic. For a simple reason, Al-Quran, it's a miracle, the wording of it and the meaning of it. And that's what the focus of this course will be on, and the meanings of the verses and how can you connect it.
This book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the speech of Allah that we have been gifted, the best revelation to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So in this month of Ramadan, the month of reciting the Quran, this month in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed the Quran, we appreciate, we show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this revelation, and recognize that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to increase in his recitation and his studying of the Quran during the month of Ramadan. As Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says in Bukhari, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to review the Quran during the month of Ramadan, and in the year that he passed away, he reviewed the Quran twice. And Ibn Abbas also radiallahu anhu says that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was the most generous of the people, and he would be the most generous in Ramadan when the angel would visit him, when Jibreel alayhi salam would visit him, and when he would visit him, they would review the Quran. And so the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would then be more generous than the wind. And as far as the actions of the early Muslims, the pious predecessors during this month, Ibn Rajab, may Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on him, he said that the Muslims, when Ramadan would come, they would recite the Quran in Ramadan, in prayer, and in everything beyond it. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she used to recite the Quran after dawn, and when the sun would have risen in the sky, she would then go and she would retire and she would get some rest and sleep. And Imam al-Zuhri, the great Imam of the Tabi'een, he said that Ramadan is for the recitation of the Quran and for the feeding of food. And Sufyan al-Thawri, the great Imam of fiqh and the first individual to be called Amir al-Mu'mineen fil Hadith, he says that when Ramadan would enter, they used to separate from all acts of worship other than the recitation of the Quran. He used to focus on the recitation of the Quran. And Imam Malik, of course, and he is beyond an introduction, not in need of any introduction. Imam Malik, rahimahullah, who the entire world used to come and gather to learn from him. Imam Malik, may Allah Azza wa Jal be pleased with him, when the month of Ramadan would come, they would come to study fiqh with him and narrate hadith from him. And they used to say that it was from the adornment of this world that a person would go back and say, Haddathani Malik, that Malik narrated to me. In fact, it was said that it's like the example of a person traveling and getting a degree from any one of the most prestigious universities in the world. You come back and it becomes something that lifts you. And so people coming from all over to narrate from Malik. But Imam Malik, when Ramadan would come, a person who had dedicated his life to the narration of the hadith and to teaching the Sharia, when Ramadan would come, he would leave all of those classes and he would just focus on the recitation of the Quran. And so we see from the actions of these pious predecessors.
If I can just make a point, it just the narrations about this are a lot, and it shows us the actions of the Salaf when Ramadan came. And so Ramadan is generally a great spiritual endeavor, and even now with Ramadan 360, you have all of this programming, but it shouldn't distract you. It should supplement, and it should empower you, and it should inspire you to read and access the Quran. At the end of the day, everything is on one level, and then the Quran is far above, right? And I think it's very important that a person always measure and diagnose their heart. And the way that they diagnose their heart is by seeing their attachment to the Quran itself. So Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu said, "Lo salimat al-qulub ma shabi'at min kalamillah." That if our hearts are healthy, they are never satisfied from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so don't let even lectures be a distraction for you in Ramadan from the thing that is, if it is a distraction for you, because again, people are different levels, right? So one person, if they're coming from really a different place, these lectures might be the closest thing they have to the Quran. Then you might have another person who has a relationship, they're fluid with the Quran, they might have some Quranic goals. For that person, maybe listening to a lecture may not be the best thing for them in that moment. Maybe for them, the best thing is that they sit down for an hour and they read the Quran, right? So it's always recognizing fiqh, understanding is always, it was never about recognizing the good from the bad. It's always between two good things, what is better, right? Between two good things, what is better? And between two bad things, what is worse? The enemy of the best is often the good. And so you want to make sure that you're always aiming for the best. Do we have any questions so far on what we've been sharing? Let me see here.
Kifayat is raising his hand. Kifayat, can you message in the chat? I want to see what you have to ask, inshallah. Actually,
Anybody on Facebook?
you should try this raise hand thing, you know? I've never, I can't see the full screen, unfortunately, Sheikh, so I don't know if you're able to do that, but...
okay, I'll go check in a second, inshallah.
Yeah. Okay, we can continue playing, and then inshallah,
Okay.
someone can awesome sauce, bismillah. And if people on Facebook or YouTube have questions, again, chime in the chat, and I'll make sure we get them asked.
From everything other than the recitation of the Quran.
No doubt, Qira'at al-Quran in itself, an act of worship, we should, as Muslims, care for it year-long. And we should commit ourselves to it. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam encouraged us even to recite, even if it is 10 verses. And he said, if you recite 10 verses in the night, you will not be among al-ghafilin, the heedless. And Muslims should not abandon al-Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said about complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Inna qawmi ittakhadhu hadha al-Qur'ana mahjura. My people have abandoned the Quran. And abandoning the Quran, you know, part of it is not to read it year long and you only read it 1 month of the year. You should have every day part of your daily schedule is to read something from the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a promise, a great promise. He said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, those who recite the Quran, those who perform the salah, those who spend from what we have given them in secret and in public, what is for them? يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَمْ تَبُورَ. Can expect a profit will never perish. Will never perish. So if you're looking for, you know, a stocks to buy, that it will always be, you know, going up, you will always be winning, you will always make a profit out of it. It will be the stock of reciting the Quran and preferring salah and spending for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My brother and sister, it is so important for us to realize that the heart that is empty from the Quran is like an abandoned house. And this hadith was reported by Tirmidhi, rahimahullah. It was said that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that in الذي ليس في جوفه شيء من القرآن كالبيت الخرب. It's like an abandoned house if there is nothing inside you. مثل الذي يذكر ربه والذي لا يذكر ربه كمثل الحي والميت. The example of the person who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the one who doesn't, it's like that dead and alive. The Muslim should fill his life, his moments, his hours with the recitation of the Quran. We should live with the Quran. Ibn Abbas once said something so powerful. He said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guaranteed for those who follow the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they will never be misguided in the dunya and they will never be misguided in the akhirah. And what it means, la yashqa bil akhirah. Yani he will never lose in the akhirah. You will never lose in the dunya, nor you will ever lose in the akhirah. فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا يَضِلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى. Allah said in Surah Taha, those who follow my guidance, they will not ever be misguided, and they will never ever yashqa. They will never be in losses in that day of judgment. I give you an example of a very special scholar. To me and to many of the scholars who came after him, which is Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. And I want you just to reflect upon this for a second. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah is the one that whenever you read his books, look at the collection of his fatwa, which is 35 volumes. You pick randomly any one of these volumes and you read, just flip the pages. In every paragraph, he said, and this is as Allah said, as Allah said, as Allah said, and this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us. He always quotes the Quran. He always referred to the Quran, either by quoting the Quran or referring to the concept in the Quran. Wallahi, I think if someone never read Quran in his life and look at Ibn Taymiyyah's books, he would think Al-Quran is like 35 volumes. Because he always mentioned Quran, always mentioned Quran. Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, the one who spent 6 months explaining one verse in Surah Nuh, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he told us that how the kuffar, they don't have the appropriate respect for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَرْجُونَ لِلَّهِ وَقَارًا. 6 months. Ibn Taymiyyah, the one who was in his last days when he was in Sijn al-Qal'ah, the jail of al-Qal'ah, when he was locked up in prison, before he died, he made Khatm al-Quran 81 times. Do you know what Ibn Taymiyyah said at the end of his life? That great scholars who spend his life in teaching knowledge and participating in battles. Do you know what he said? He said, Inni la'asa. I am so sorry. I feel so sorry that I spend so much of my life away from the Quran. Just reflect upon this for a second. It is so powerful when you think how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made this book for us as a guidance, as something that to guide us, to bring us life. And there is no comparison between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's words and any.
There's a sheikh that I also heard that from, Sheikh Abu Ishaq al-Huwaini, hafidhahullah ta'ala, and he's a famous muhaddith from Egypt, and he is someone who dedicated his entire life to the study of hadith. And I recently saw a video of him discussing the Quran, and he said, I wish that I had given my life to the Quran. Even though he did, right? He gave Halima, I am not Dr. Zakir Naik, unfortunately. I don't know which verse number it is in Surah Nuh, but it's the second page, first half of the second page. And it's, Surah Nuh is only 2 pages, so inshallah you'll be able to find it. It's not, or someone else can point out to it, inshallah. I'm just not good at the whole verses thing, unfortunately. Okay, go ahead.
And one said, the favor of Allah, or the virtue of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's words, comparing to other words, it's like you're comparing Allah to any creation. There's no comparison. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about the Quran that it is light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhan nasu qad ja'akum burhanun min rabbikum wa anzalna ilaykum nuran mubina. We have sent to you light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the Quran.
I'm sorry, just one more second. But for Halima, just in case you missed what the verse was, and that's the reason why you're asking for the verse number, it is, the verse was, مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَرْجُونَ لِلَّهِ وَقَارًا. Why is it that you do not give Allah his due estimate? You don't give Allah his just due. Why is it? مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَرْجُونَ لِلَّهِ وَقَارًا. Why is it that you don't give Allah his due right or his due estimate? I'm sorry, go ahead, Hafsa.
Perfect, no worries.
الناس قد جاءتكم موعظة من ربكم. It's a reminder, admonition from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you ever feel that you need a reminder, something to shake your heart, read the Quran. That's what Allah said. It's موعظة. موعظة من ربكم وشفاء لما في الصدور. It's a healing. That's it? No. وهدى ورحمة للمؤمنين. And it is a guidance and it's a mercy for the believer. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's favor upon us. قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, in that let them rejoice. It is better than what they accumulate. So whatever you accumulated, whatever you memorize, it will never be better than the verses that you memorize, the Quran that you read, that moment that you spend with Al-Quran. One of my favorite description of the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in his book. وَكَذَلِكَ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ رُوحًا مِّنْ أَمْرِنَا. And we have revealed to you, Ya Muhammad, ruh. What's ruh? Ruh, it is the soul. Why Quran was referred to as a soul? Why Jibreel was called a ruh? Because Al-Quran to you, to your iman, to your soul, is like the soul to the body. Without it, you're dead. Without the Quran in your life, you're dead. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَفَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. Allah gave the example of somebody who was dead in darkness. And Allah made them back or gave them life and light. What is the light and the light? Is the dhikr, is that revelation, is that book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have sent to us. It is so important for us to realize this fact and to make that connection with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's never was about how much you memorize from the Quran. It's always about how much you care about the Quran. You remember the Sahabi that he only was reciting Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, let him know that Allah loves him. We all love Allah. But the biggest question is, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us? Does he love you back? That's the biggest thing that we're looking for. That Sahabi got it. Not because the whole entire surah, the many surahs that you memorize, no, because he cares so much about this surah. It means a lot to him. So I hope that this course will enable us to connect with the Quran in a much, much better way, a much stronger way. And I'm so glad that this is coming to you, so you can use these tools, these principles, inshallah ta'ala, to understand the Quran better. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it very easy for all of us and connect us with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
All right, that was video 1. By the way, we also all love the Qul Huwallahu Ahad. We also recite it in our salah a lot. But the question is it because it's, thank you, Nasreen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us all and you. Okay, so Any questions so far on the introduction as well as on Facebook?
I see
Go
Albek.
that is faster, Albek. Very good. Yes.
He submitted one in the Q&A box here. So he's saying, he also submitted on the FB website. Jazakallah khair for doing that. Inshallah, we'll respond to it there as well. And he says,
Yes.
my question is, when you get tired of reciting the Quran or reading its tafsir and doing tadabbur, should you take breaks? Is it normal for people to burn out?
100%.
Okay.
Well, you shouldn't come to a place where you burn out.
Yeah. He's
right?
saying,
And that's why the Prophet ﷺ says, "Ahabbul a'mali ila Allah adwamuha wa in qal." He says that the most beloved actions to Allah are the most consistent, even if they are small. Yes, Hafsa, you were saying something?
no, sorry. He was saying just at the end, you know, if you do too much of one thing, is it normal for people to burn out from time to time? Is Quran...
Burnout? Are you American?
No, he's not. He's from, oh my God, I was like Uzbekistan, I think.
Oh, this is Albek?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an American style, right? Yeah, American educated. It's American style, which is to go really hard, beast mode, and then burn out. Which isn't the way that, you know, it's not very much an Eastern philosophy or a Middle Eastern or, you know, basically outside of the Western world. For you to read a portion to simply become satisfied with is better. And I remember, you know, one of the earliest, even though it's controversial whether it's a hadith or not, but I remember my Arabic teacher back in the day, he used to tell me whenever I used to tell him, like, you know, we'd do a lesson and then I'd want to do another lesson because I used to go over to his house and I would sit there and I'd be like, okay, you know, I came all the way here, let's do 2 or 3 or 4. And he would always tell me the exact same thing. He would say, "Inna al-mumbatta la ardan qata'a wa la dhahran abqa." Okay, he would say, the hasty one does not get to their destination. La ardan qata'a. They don't traverse the land. They don't get to where they're going. And their ride doesn't survive the trip. Right? So if you can imagine a person who's on a horse and they're just pushing their horse 100 miles an hour to get to where they're going. They don't get to where they're going and their horse will collapse and die. So you don't keep your horse and you don't get to where you're going in the first place. And same thing with the person who's doing 120 miles on a highway, right? They're trying to get somewhere. And a lot of times what ends up happening is their engine might give way, or they might get into a car accident, or they might get pulled over by the cops, right? And so they neither get to their destination, nor does their car survive the ride. And so pacing yourself is incredibly important with regards to these things. If you read the Quran while you are attentive. And the Prophet ﷺ says the same thing even with regards to salah, so that you don't burn out. When he saw Zainab, he came into i'tikaf in Ramadan and he found that there was these like ropes set up, these ropes and he said, "Who are these ropes for?" And they said, "It's for Zainab, his wife." Why? Because when she gets tired, she would kind of lean on these ropes. So she had like a whole setup for her to go beast mode. And so the Prophet ﷺ said, take them down. One of you should pray while they are energetic, while you have the desire to pray. And he says, because Allah does not, Allah la yamal hatta tamallu. Allah does not become uninterested until you become uninterested. Okay? And so the point here is do it gradually. Read for 10 minutes. If you're done, alhamdulillah. And that's why the scholars talk about and Shaykh Walid even mentioned about it when he talked about reading the Quran every day. They talk about the importance of having a wird, a daily devotional. And they always mention whatever minimum you can have. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your wird is a juz a day, or it doesn't matter if your wird is half a page a day, or a surah a day, or a kawthar a day, right? Whatever it is, but that you have something that's consistent. That's important.
Fair enough. Sheikh, it's technically the second lesson. Should we close it off and inshallah...
on Facebook? Yeah, we are going to close off on Facebook, everybody. Jazakumullah khair. Hope you benefited. Let's see if there are any more questions. Let me just check real quick with Facebook.
Let's take a quick intermission and answer a couple questions really quickly, and then inshallah we'll jump into the second lesson. There's a lot coming in on the Faith Essentials.
From Marina, is it okay if the amount is different every day? Yes, it is okay if the amount is different.
Perfect. I see I'm restarting a relationship with the Quran and I want to raise my children with the love of Quran. Any tips? Sorry, Sheikh, did you tackle that one already? Actually, there's some really good ones. Your engine burns out. Can you just choose to... Okay, I'll keep my camera on just so it doesn't look empty for you guys. Is it okay to mount? Okay. Marina, let me know if your guys' earlier questions... Or yeah. were already answers. Brother Albek, Jazakumullah khair for leaving it on the portal. Some of you, mashallah, asked some really, really good questions when we're live. So I hope that we do that a little bit more often, is to have you guys repeat it or put it on the portal if you have us open on Zoom and on a device where you can just access the portal easily as well. And that way, inshallah, not only, I feel like sometimes a question will get asked live, and if I don't think about it hard enough, or if I don't remember, I'll forget the answer within a few minutes, because the question is so unique and it's important, but the answer just doesn't stick in my head. So I'm excited to have more of them available on the portal. I know, mashallah, there's been more discussion, more Q&As overall, and Sheikh Walid and Sheikh Ammar have been working really hard to get those questions answered that you've been submitting in. At a certain point, we were at like 300 questions that had to be answered, and now we're at less than 60, I believe. So alhamdulillah, there's been a lot more. I know it's slow going because alhamdulillah, they take a lot of time to make sure the answers are good and authentic and are done properly. So bear with us, but inshallah, keep submitting your questions. They're really, really good, and inshallah, we'll keep answering.
Okay, good. So we're good on Facebook. I didn't see any questions.
Okay, no problem. I'm just going to stop the live stream. Jazakumullah khair for everyone who joined us for this quick little teaser. I did link the Faith Essentials and the Lost in Translation course. If you want to just get the course and just want to benefit from it, you can do so in the first link. And if you want to, or one of the links, and then if you want to benefit from Faith Essentials and have this plus 24 other courses, Sheikh Ammar, I had to correct you there. I think 24, actually 25 now. Please feel free to visit Faith Essentials. And if you have any questions, there's a chat there as well, or an email, faith.essentials@almaghrib.org. Jazakumullah khair, everyone, for joining us for this quick little sneak peek. See you at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Sheikh Ammar again for the effects of good deeds for Ramadan 360. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Everyone else, this is